Have you ever just felt like the world is too loud, too fast, just too much? Well, if you have, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to dive into a timeless guide for finding some peace in this chaotic world. And it's all drawn from the incredible writings of Pope Shenouda III on the virtue of calmness. You know, this quote just beautifully reframes everything, doesn't it? We feel so overwhelmed by all the constant noise and pressure, but this perspective reminds us that all our chaos right now, it's just a tiny temporary drop in this vast, vast ocean of eternal peace. It really puts things into perspective. Okay, so if our world feels so restless, where did all that come from? The book suggests that this isn't how things are supposed to be. It's actually a departure from an original state of peace. And figuring out how we left that state is the first step to finding our way back. So the way the source explains it, peace was basically the default setting for the universe. God existed in perfect peace. Creation itself, the planets moving, day turning to night, all of it was done in total calm. The first disruption? It came from a choice, pride, which led to rebellion. And then for humanity, sin brought in all these new disruptive feelings like fear, shame, and conflict. It's a pretty powerful way to show how restlessness crashed the party in a once peaceful world. So now that we've seen how peace was lost, let's get really clear on what we're trying to get back. What is this true calmness the book is talking about? Because let me tell you, it's a whole lot deeper than just putting on a brave face when things go sideways. Right, so the key insight here is that true calmness is an inside job. It's not really about what's happening around you, but what's happening within you. It's this stable, continuous quality that's proven not when life is easy, but when it's really, really hard. It's a characteristic of your soul. And this comparison is so important. That superficial calm is just a mask, right? And it disappears the second the pressure is on. You've probably seen people use that kind of cold, fake calmness just to provoke someone in an argument. But true calmness, that comes from the heart. It's always there, and it actually spreads peace to people around you instead of just helping you win a debate. And the author of all these incredible insights is Pope Shenouda III. His writings on the spiritual life have been a guide for millions, and his work on calmness, well, it gives us a practical and deeply spiritual roadmap we can all follow. For the ultimate example of this tested, unshakable peace, the text points to Jesus during his trial. I mean, think about it. He's facing false accusations, insults, yet he remained unbelievably calm. This wasn't because there wasn't a problem. It was because he had this deep, internal peace that the chaos on the outside just couldn't break. So, if true calmness is the goal, what's stopping us from getting there? The book actually helps us diagnose the problem by identifying what it calls the enemies of our peace. And they come from both inside us and outside. First up, the battles within. The source calls this a potential volcano in the heart. It could be a naturally fiery temperament, or just those persistent feelings of fear and anxiety. It can also be our own thought patterns, blowing problems out of proportion, dwelling on the negative, or letting our desires create constant turmoil inside. And then you've got the attacks from the outside. I mean, just think about your daily life, the actual noise of traffic and machines, the psychological weight of an endless stream of upsetting news, the friction you get from dealing with other people, and of course, our own problems that can just feel completely overwhelming. All of it chips away at our peace. And what happens when we let these enemies win? It's totally counterproductive. The text is really clear about this. A person who isn't calm ends up losing their composure, other people's respect, and they're just more likely to make mistakes. So all that agitation, it's not a sign of strength. It's a sign that we've lost control. So this brings us to the big question, right? How do we fight back? How do we actually build up our defenses and cultivate this inner peace? Let's turn to the book's really practical, actionable guide for building a calmer life. The book lays out a really clear path. First, connect with the calmness of nature. It has this powerful soothing effect. Second, live by faith. Handing our worries over to God builds this deep trust that things will work out. Third, choose your friends wisely. Calmness is contagious. And finally, practice stillness. You have to train yourself not to be like a pane of glass that shatters at the slightest touch, but to be an unshakable mountain. And this idea of faith gets reinforced by this incredible quote from Saint Augustine. The book brings it up to show that while nature and good company are great, the ultimate source of our peace is spiritual. Our hearts are always going to be searching and restless until they finally connect with that source. So what's the ultimate reward for all this effort? Well, it's not just a feeling. It has real-world benefits. You start thinking more clearly. You become a better problem solver. And beyond that, you cultivate what the Apostle Peter called the incorruptible beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit. It's just a more effective and honestly a more beautiful way to live. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. In a world that is constantly shouting for our attention, just filled with all this noise, inside and out, how will you choose to find your silence and build that unshakable peace?